everyone, Benjamin here. I decided to check in on everyone and see how you're doing. I hope everyone is handling this okay. I think we all know by now someone who has had COVID, whether it's a distant friend or a family member or a coworker or a coworker's family. I know that I know some people who had it, and I know some people who died from it. Not personally, but I know people who've had people in their lives die from it. I also know people who've recovered from it. So I hope everyone is taking this seriously and following the stay-at-home orders and the health protocols from the CDC and things like that. Here in Harris County in Houston, we're still under the stay-at-home order, at least through the end of the month. We don't know yet exactly what's going to happen at the end of the month. The Harris County judge has just issued a mask order that says that basically people need to be wearing masks in public for the next 30 days starting on Monday. It's Thursday right now, so beginning on Monday for the next 30 days we're going to have a mask order that's potentially punishable by a $1,000 fine if you violate that order. There are some exceptions to it, but that's what we're looking at right now. I hope everyone is taking this time to really either reset your life or jumpstart your life, because this is the perfect opportunity, the perfect time when we have downtime to really assess where you're at in your life and what changes, if any, you need to make or you want to make. As far as my own life has been concerned, even though I've been working, I've had Zoom hearings, I've had a Zoom mediation. I've also done a lot of learning, obviously on technology and various issues related to the coronavirus. But I'm also, at this point, getting sort of my business act together. So I've been going through a lot of paper, putting them in the shred pile. I have a shredding company coming next month. I'm going to take at least 10 boxes of old receipts and things like that away. Really happy about that. In addition, I still have non-court work that I'm doing for my clients, and quite frankly, there's a lot of that as well. So I've been keeping pretty busy. Unfortunately, my business is the kind of business that tends to thrive in terms of what I practice when other people have setbacks in their lives. If I had to describe exactly what I do, I would say it's consumer law and family law. So unfortunately, when people have issues regarding divorce or their children or domestic violence, that's when I come into play on the family law side. On the consumer side, I deal with evictions, I deal with foreclosures, I deal with debt lawsuits. Now, people who've known me for a while know that I used to be on the other side of these issues. I used to represent creditors in mortgage companies and auto companies, finance companies, debt buyers. And several years ago, I made a change and I represent consumers now. So unfortunately, when the people suffer in terms of the economy, that's when my business takes off. However, I don't really look at it as being unfortunate in the sense that there's not many of us, quite frankly, in the entire nation that practice consumer law on behalf of consumers. Most, quote, consumer attorneys represent the creditors, the big banks, the mortgage companies, the auto finance companies, the auto dealerships, you name it. In fact, I'm part of the National Association of Consumer Advocates, and we only have about 1,500 or so members in that organization. And in that organization, we all have to abide by the fact that we will not represent a creditor against a against the consumer. And that's something that we live by. So what I see coming out of this, unfortunately, is going to be a lot of heartache. And I'm going to be there to help people and guide them through the process. I can't save everyone, but I can ensure that they get their due process, and I can ensure that no one's going to take advantage of them legally without me there, without me helping them get through the process. If there's an eviction, I'll make sure they do it right. If there's a foreclosure, I'll make sure they do it right, or I'll even sue the mortgage company if they did things wrong to get to the foreclosure. As far as debt's concerned, a lot of people are sued for debt in times like these. And again, I will make sure that the client gets the best deal possible and the best defense. Because quite frankly, too many of these cases are lost by people even not answering the lawsuit. People giving up on an eviction because they don't know the rules. There's so many mistakes that can be made in any of these processes. There's so much proof that sometimes is not given, but yet no one fights. And that's what I'm here. Quite frankly, in Houston, there's not a lot of us that do this. Most people who are defendants will potentially qualify for legal aid. And then there are others who can just afford whatever kind of attorney they want and quite frankly don't get into this mess. What we have though is we have a justice gap in the consumer law field. So we have people who make too much money to be able to qualify for legal aid, but not enough money to just pay any old attorney whatever amount they want. So for years I've been honing in on a price structure that hopefully will work for most people, and I think has worked for most people. It's a little different for every case, but I can tell you that when my clients come to me, I ensure that the other side knows that we're not going to be a pushover. I have kept people in their homes and in their apartments for a long time, making sure that justice is given to them, that due process is given to them. And we're not going to have just a rollover in an eviction. When banks have switched, when you have requested a loan modification and you send in your documents and then the bank says, we have this particular person assigned to your case, and then you call a month later and a new person is assigned to your case, and they say they don't have the documents, send them over, and they do that repeatedly until they just decide that they're going to foreclose on you. And then even when you try to work with them, they proceed with that foreclosure. We'll make sure that if you get to me in time, we'll file a lawsuit to try to stop that foreclosure. And if the foreclosure's already happened, we'll do our best to deal with the consequences in a way that's going to bring dignity to the clients who are the subject of the foreclosure. As far as debt, every case is different, but a lot of times creditors can't always prove the amounts that they're asking for, or they want an easy case because they file so many. I've gotten entire debts dismissed. I've gotten partial debts dismissed. I've had good settlements where my clients have been able to get a better deal by paying all at once. I've had settlements where we've had to pay out over time. My clients have had to pay out over time. But in the end, they don't come out with a judgment. Unfortunately, what we're going to be seeing over the summer are going to be a lot of evictions. We're going to have a lot of foreclosures. We're going to have a lot of debt lawsuits. I just want you to know that if you or someone you know ends up in one of those three situations, then I'm here for you. And I will make sure that the process is done correctly, that you receive due process in the procedural aspects of the law and how a case is conducted. And quite frankly, I will make sure that all these creditors know that there is someone out there here in Texas that will fight for consumers and will not lay down, and we're willing to take cases to trial. I believe in consumer justice. It's something that's been a passion of mine. Unfortunately, I had to go work on the other side for a while to learn their tricks of the trade. But I'm on the consumer side and have been for several years now. And when you need consumer justice, when you think of consumer justice, when you demand and want and deserve consumer justice, think of me, Benjamin Sanchez. Have a great day, people. Stay safe, stay healthy.